The Supreme Court strikes down institutional racism. That's the headline from our side. What is the headline from the other side? Do you happen to have that, Ricky? This is so funny. We're saying what I think is the truth. Institutionalized racism, this gerrymandering along race lines, is racist. It is racist. But this is how they frame it.
They're suggesting that black voters will be disenfranchised now.
Yeah.
Quoting from The Atlantic, the Roberts Court is creating a world in which the federal government does not interfere with the right of white Americans to dominate those they see as their lessers.
Okay. So on Wednesday, the court dealt with a key provision in the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and they sided with Louisiana Republicans and Donald Trump, blocking an electoral map that created a second majority black congressional district. 6-3 decision. So this is not just a party line. 6-3 decision. The justices upheld a lower court ruling that found the map unconstitutional. Why? Because they were basing the gerrymandering on race. Now, everybody can talk about this in any way that they want to, and they're going to, of course, Chuck Schumer is like, man, and I'm turning them around, and Jim Crow. It's not Jim Crow. Why do people listen to these people? I mean this sincerely. Think. So let me get this right. So the people who were for slavery, they fought for slavery from the beginning of the Republic. They were the ones who split apart and said, I don't want to be a part of the Republic if they're going to tell us we can't have slaves. Then when they lost the war, they went in, they were for Jim Crow laws. They were the ones taking away. They started the Klan. That was actually, and I have the documents to prove it in our vault. They started the Klan. It was Antifa, really. That's what it was. It was an old-timey Antifa. Make you afraid, shut you up, okay? Stop you from doing anything. And the primary target was the black individual. But right alongside was anyone who said blacks can vote. Blacks are just like you and me. Anyone, if you were white and you said that, you were strung up as well. Okay? That's just the fact. So they're the ones who started the Klan. Then they were the ones, Woodrow Wilson, that brought all of race back into the government, segregated our government again. They were the ones with eugenics and saying that there are subspecies. They were the ones against the Civil Rights Act. They were the ones who marched against Martin Luther King. They were the ones who celebrated Martin Luther King's death. They were the ones that put in the Great Society, which has destroyed the black family. And yet somehow or another, you're listening to them telling you what's best for your family, your race. First of all, government and people, we need to start looking at people as people, not groups, not race, not by your income level or anything else. Stop. Look at people as individuals. I mean, I believe it was Martin Luther King's dream. By the way, this is the same party that says Martin Luther King wasn't all that. They celebrated and celebrated and celebrated until they started to expose who they really are. And now they're saying, yeah, Martin Luther King, he doesn't get it. So you're listening to them about Jim Crow laws. And I kind of understand it because, I mean, they're the ones behind the Jim Crow laws, so they probably know it better than anybody else. Let me tell you why what the Supreme Court did is good for everyone, and in particular, the black community. And I would say this if the whole situation were reversed and it was all about whites, okay? When you look at our government, do you feel that you are fairly represented? Even by the people you just voted for. And I'll use this on me with Republicans. I don't think they're representing me. I don't think they're representing you. When 80% of the population says they're for voter ID and both parties are not listening, they're fighting against that, who are they representing, right? So you have to ask this question. Are you represented or are you being managed? Because those are not the same thing. Representation means a politician wakes up in the morning knowing they can lose you. It means your vote actually has teeth. It means if they don't deliver, if they drift, if they lie, if they forget about you, you pull the lever the other way and it's the end of their career. That's representation. Management is different. Management is when your vote is already accounted for. It's filed away, predicted before you even step in. Yeah, John, I'm not going to lose John's vote. John's with me no matter what I do, okay? You're no longer a citizen that they have to convince. If they don't have to convince you, they don't care about representing you. You're an asset that just needs to be maintained, and maintenance is cheap. The acquisition of that vote is hard. Maintenance is easy. You do a speech here, a headline there, maybe a program that is announced. Even if it doesn't work, yeah, well, I did that program, okay? You don't have to solve problems when the outcome is already locked in. They don't even have to listen to you. You just have to keep the temperature from boiling over. That's all you have to do. And when you start to have problems because they're locked into you, to get away from your problems, all you have to do is go, you know what? It's these guys over here that are trying to convince you that I'm a bad guy. Don't listen to them, Jim Crow, Jim Crow, Jim Crow. Anytime any group of Americans or any citizens that are represented becomes predictable, then they stop being the focus of performance, actual action, and start being the focus of just messaging. That's it. If you are 90% locked in, you're managed. If you are 50-50, you're represented. A politician only has to ask just a few simple questions at election time. And this is all they ask. I can guarantee you, this is it. Where's the risk? Where can I lose? Who can I gain? Where do I have to prove something? That's where all of the attention, the money, and the focus goes. If you are loyal, he or she doesn't even think about you. Why should he? He's got other people that he's got to gain or not lose. You're locked in. And not because of who you vote for, but because of what that does to your power. What is the whole point of the Republic? It was not to be locked in on anything. It was to be listened to be represented. Listen to me. How many times have you said that in your life? I wish these people would just, how many times have you had a conversation? Guys, you and I know we could go to Washington. We could fix this damn thing. It's not that hard, right? Just listen to us. The founders did not design a system for permanent coalitions, but that's what the parties have created. The founders designed one of constant tension. This is why George Washington said, stay away from the two-party system. You got to get away from it. It'll be the death of the republic. For instability in just the right way, so no one could ever sit comfortably knowing, I got it. You're supposed to be unpredictable. You're supposed to be difficult, demanding. You are supposed to make them earn it every single time. But we traded that for identity and habit, which means nothing. Whole groups of Americans, left, right, doesn't matter. Why? They're safe. Let me ask you this. Native Americans, who do you vote for usually? Guarantee you vote for the Democrats. You vote for the liberals. Want to look at your situation? Do you think maybe something would change if you were like, you know what, I don't think I'm going to vote for you. What have you done for us? And you actually were taken seriously that you might vote another way. We become safe districts, safe voters, safe assumptions, and safe politicians. That's when the shift happens. And the shift is from serving to managing. And when you're managed long enough, two things happen. One, you stop expecting results. And when that happens, you start measuring words instead of outcomes. What did they say? How many of us are sick and tired of, I've heard the speech, I don't care what they say anymore. I want to see it in action. We're going to hold these people responsible. Have they? The second thing that happens is you start defending the people who should be answering to you. Let me say that again. You start defending people who should be answering to you. Isn't that what's happened? Because this is how the world is turned upside down and inside out. Because you, the voter, have begun serving the politician and the party. The representation is gone. All of us are asking, they don't represent me. Who are they representing? The party. And you are defending it. And that all happened because they can count on your vote. So what should the goal be? Not about switching parties every cycle to prove a point. It's just restoring uncertainty. Stability, everything works best when there is predictable unpredictability. You don't want chaos. You want predictable unpredictability. So you have to make it clear, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter your skin color, you can't count on my vote. That support has conditions. And one of the conditions is, what are your actions? What are you actually doing for me? If you took a car, you bought a car, and you just loved, say whatever, you loved Chevy, and Chevy no longer cared about you. They were only about selling the next car to somebody else who isn't a Chevy driver. You went in for service, and they treated you like garbage. And when they fixed it, they never really fixed anything. And you were like, you know what? Guys, can you just fix this? I love your cars. Can you just fix this? Yep, we're going to fix it. And then they never fix it. How long would you drive a Chevy? Why is it they have been giving you a crap box on wheels for 100 years, slapping you and your family and everything you hold dear? Ever notice? If you look at the actual moral backbone of the black community, they're conservative. They're probably more conservative in many ways, especially on God and family, than the average white conservative is. How does that fit? How does that fit? Because you're a Chevy driver and you'll always drive a Chevy. The only thing that forces action in a political system is the risk of losing. Risk. You want better schools, safer streets, an economy that actually works for you again? Then the politicians have to feel something they haven't felt in a long time. And I'm careful with this. Fear. Not fear of mobs, not fear of the street, fear of losing you. Then they have to represent you. And until we get back to that, you're just going to confuse attention with results, management with leadership. And you will go on defending the people who are not representing you. And then you wonder why nothing ever really changes. This was a great thing for the Republic.